Wednesday. Happy Wargame Wednesday. Come on in, pull up a chair. The Daily Dope is in the air. Howdy, 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 gang. Wow, that screen paused there for a little bit. I was like, hey, what's going on? It's like, come on, bring me up. Anyway, howdy, 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 gang. Yes, I'm Jeff McAleer, back once again as your host here at The Daily Dope, presented by thegaminggang.com. Welcome aboard. Today is Wednesday, January 16th, 2019. It's a Wednesday. I try to do war games on Wednesdays. So today I am going to be unboxing and taking a first look at Talon 1000. This is the newest expansion for Talon, the science fiction starfighter game, or I should say space combat game, maybe. That probably sounds about right, a little better than starfighters, because there are ships that are not just starfighters in the game. So it is the first expansion that's come out. I'm kind of surprised. I thought there was another expansion, but they're not. They're just additional games, I do believe, that have come out. So I'm going to be taking a look at that in just a little bit. So if this is your first time joining me, welcome aboard. This is a very casual show. I just kind of share some tabletop gaming news, talk a little geek culture, do some unboxings, do some reviews from time to time. So just relax and enjoy. This is a live stream carried on YouTube. So I do want to point out, if you are watching live, and I know a vast majority of people tend to watch the show after the fact, but if you are watching the stream, feel free to say hello, or if you got a question, fire away. Or maybe there's something about Talon 1000 that we'll be looking at later that you want a closer look at. If so, chime in, I will respond. Do want to mention that the chat is not on screen. It's one of the ways that I kind of keep some of the stranger commenters at bay. So, gonna get into the news in just a bit. I got a little bit of news today. So I gotta admit, I thought it was very, very cool. I got a thank you card from Gia, who was a patient at the Anne and Robert H. Laurie Children's Hospital in Chicago, and we did our Extra Life charity stream back in November, and I thought that was kind of cool. I got a thank you card. So, yeah, it's not like we raised thousands of dollars or anything like that, but Elliot Miller and I and my nephew Cameron, we have a good time. It was only the three of us this year. Prior year that we had Julie Ahern from Greenbrier Games and some other folks came by, so that's pretty cool. But hey, we had a good time. You can actually still watch the stream over on the YouTube channel here, and from back, I want to say, I think it was November 5th-ish, somewhere around that. It's kind of fun. We did a 12-hour charity stream, so I thought that was nice. I mean, you know, I didn't need to get a thank you card, but I just thought that was very cool. Anywho, all right, so do want to point out, if you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you check out some of the videos on the Gaming Gang channel and you dig them, please subscribe and, of course, hit the little bell so you'll be notified whenever there's a new video or if there's a live stream going on. So, do want to mention as well that I know there are people out there who do not dig the tabletop gaming news of the day. If that's the case, go take a look in the show notes. You're going to see there's time codes right there. You can skip right past the tabletop gaming news and some of my pontificating and go right into the Talon 1000 unboxing. Now, let me grab a sip here. I've been running around tonight. For a while, I didn't think I was actually going to start the stream on time because I was kind of zinging around. Today was another cardiovascular rehab day too, so things tend to stack up quite a bit on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday when I go do that. All right, so let's jump into the news, because Days of Wonder has a new roll and write game that's arriving this spring, and I've got the dope on Corinth. or Corinth. After a blazing sun in 4th century BCE, traders come from all corners of the Mediterranean Sea to Corinth to sell their goods. Persian carpets, Cretan olive oil, Roman grapes, and Egyptian spices are highly prized by traders. Players have a few weeks to secure their place in Corinthian lore as its most savvy trader. Corinth is a roll and write game akin to a dice-only version of the board game Ispahan. I am not familiar with that board game. At the start of a turn, the active player rolls 9 dice, then places all the dice with the highest value on the gold space at the top of the chart, then starts placing dice from the bottom of the chart up, with each value of dice being on a separate level. The active player takes all the dice on one level, then the action associated with that level. Top level gives the player as many gold as the number of dice they took. The bottom level gives goats instead of gold. Hey, you can't eat gold. And the middle levels allow a player to deliver goods to a number of market stalls on their personal player sheet equal to the dice claimed. You have 4 colors of market stalls, and once you start marking off, say, rugs in one of the blue areas, you have to finish marking off all the rugs in that area before you can start marking off another blue area. The active player can spend gold to roll up to 3 extra yellow dice, and thereby increase the odds of getting to take a desired level. If the active player doesn't take any of these yellow dice, they are removed from play, preventing others from benefiting at that player's expense. After 16 turns with 4 players or 18 turns with 2 or 3 players, the game ends and you tally points for goods delivered, spaces visited by the steward, buildings constructed, and goats and gold still on hand. Corinth is for 2 to 4 players ages 8 and up, plays in about 20 to 30 minutes, and will carry an MSRP of $20 when it arrives in the States, or I guess I could say North America, in May. Do want to mention that Corinth will actually be releasing in March over in Europe, so the Europeans are going to get first crack at the new game. I love Days of Wonder. I always like Days of Wonder. I think they make some really, really good games. Some games that aren't difficult to get into, but stick around for quite a while. They've got some nice evergreen titles. I had to share the news because very rarely do we get to talk about something new coming from Days of Wonder. So, let's talk about a company that I am not familiar with and is a pretty small company as far as I understand, and that is Adam's Apple Games. And there's a new fantasy game that's arriving next month, and I've got the dope. It is kind of a second edition. Sword Crafters Expanded Edition includes the Sword Crafters base game and expands on the game with 3 exciting new modules that can be played singularly or combined. The Sword of Protection has broken again. The king has opened up the Forgotten Tomb, granting you access to sword mastery, sword relics, and sword tips. I would think the tip of the sword, not advice about swords. In Sword Crafters, players compete to forge the best sword, scoring based on length, quality, and magic. Length counts, folks. Each round, each player makes 1 cut in a grid of sword tiles to create a separation. After the separations phase, each player selects 1 grouping of sword tiles and assembles them into their sword. When there are not enough sword tiles to form a new grid, scoring occurs. Players hold their swords in the center of the table to score based on length. Sword quality is based on the highest number of adjacent matching gems on each side of the sword. Sword magic scoring is based on the relevant gems required by each of the 3 sword magic cards. This expanded edition layers in 3 exciting new modules: relics, tips, and mastery. Relics add new tiles to the grid, creating more importance on your set collection expertise. Tips grants players 2 additional goals that score based on their sword. Mastery challenges players to complete mini goals throughout the game. The enemies are growing stronger, and the king has asked you to craft an enhanced sword of protection using sword mastery. Claim each round to hone your blade. Sword relics add fragments of the past to the grid to keep your slices and selections intense, whatever that might mean. Sword tips, personal goals test how sharp you truly are. Sword Crafters, the Expanded Edition, is for 1 to 5 players, so there's a solitaire element to this. It's for ages 13 and up, plays in around 25 to 35 minutes, and will carry an MSRP of $50 when it hits stores next month on February 6th. I wish I had more images to share for this game, because you actually make kind of a sword. I mean, not a real sword. I'm sure it's all cardboard and, you know, punch board, stuff like that. But you actually will have a sword that you have in front of you on the table. So, sounds kind of interesting. And this game was popular enough to get a new printing, which is this expanded edition with these extra modules. All right, my friends over at Ares Games has a new volume in their card game series of Monsters versus Heroes. And this time around, get ready for some Lovecraftian creatures. Here's the dope. Meet the main characters of Lovecraft's masterpieces, The Mask of Innsmouth and The Mask of Innsmouth and At the Mountains of Madness. Hey, hold on a minute there, Babalooey. There is no Lovecraft story called The Mask of Innsmouth. It's The Shadow over Innsmouth. Uh-oh. Man, I hope they have... I hope this isn't on the back of the box, because Ares will get raked over the coals for this. Anyway, let's continue. Fight with Robert Olmsted or Zedek Allen, or the Dreadful Deep One, or with William Dyer and Danceforth, or the creatures that haunt Antarctica. During the game, you can play a card from your hand or draw a new card from the deck. Each card represents a character with a special skill you can use in your favor. The Innsmouth folk can ambush and devour heroes. Warren Rice can rely on Francis Morgan or Professor Armitage. Unique characters have incredible powers, but don't underestimate the utility of Investigator of the Occult or Deadly Albino Penguins. Monsters vs. Heroes Volume 2 Cthulhu Mythos is a fast and fun card game for 2 to 8 players. This set includes 2 different decks, 30 cards each. Use them separately to play with 4 players or less, or mash them together to play with more people, or to have the fun last a little longer. The game is for ages 13 and up, plays in around 15 minutes, and will carry an MSRP of $16.90 when it arrives in March. Cool. I did see the first volume. Isn't that like Victorian Monsters? Something like that. Elliot Miller, my best friend over at voiceofe.com, he had gotten a copy, a review copy from Ares Games, I want to say back at Origins, but I don't know. I never heard anything about it from him. So I have not played it. But I gotta admit, I like the artwork. I think the artwork's pretty damn cool. Although I gotta say, there's no Mask of Innsmouth as far as Lovecraft stories, unless somehow I am missing something somewhere along the line. All right, let's talk a little bit about RPGs, because Onyx Path Publishing has released a new edition of Changeling. Yes, it's one of their World of Darkness titles. It's in PDF, and I've got the dope. Once upon a time, they took you from your home. They promised you a place at their side and meaning in your life, and they surrounded you with beautiful things. But the beautiful things were oh so sharp, and they laughed when you bled. Day by day, they changed you, but day by day, your will grew stronger. On the last day, you smashed your way through the beautiful things and ran, not noticing as you bled or feeling as you cried. You fought with courage and cleverness and took yourself home. Now the beauty and the horror are yours to have and to hold and to live. Welcome to Once Upon Rights effing now. Yes, they dropped the F-bomb in their sell sheet info. Changeling, the Lost Second Edition, includes everything you need to create and play your own Changeling, a human abducted by the Fae and transformed by the experience. It's a complete setting of fairy wonder and macabre horror, or as some people like to say, macabre horror, for the Chronicles of Darkness. A guide to Changeling society is included, caught between the twin poles of human hearts and the vast fantastic. There's supernatural powers, mystical oaths, and creatures out of legend. The 364-page Changeling, the Lost Second Edition, is available in PDF from my friends at Drive-Thru RPG for $19.99. Pretty cool, very cool. Gotta admit, I think Vampire the Masquerade is really the only World of Darkness or Chronicles of Darkness game I ever really took much of a look at. I gotta be honest, even though I've done reviews for some Vampire the Masquerade stuff, especially the new 5th edition core book not too long ago, I never ran it. I had never run it. I read it. I used to pick it up and just read it for like the big meta story going on. So I do want to point out that the Gaming Gang and thus the Daily Dope are affiliates of the Drive-Thru website. So if you are going to go over to Drive-Thru RPG or Drive-Thru Fiction, Comics, Wargame Vault, what have you, please stop by thegaminggang.com first. Click on one of our banners. That way, if you happen to make a purchase, say at Drive-Thru RPG, I get a small portion of that sale. And I gotta be honest, all those little portions add up and normally pay for the hosting of the website every month. So very, very cool. Plus, if you haven't seen the past couple of shows, something else that those extra funds are going to go to. I'll talk about that in just a bit. Did also want to mention this is Wargame Wednesday. There is SPQR. This is a deluxe 2nd edition that is shipping from GMT. They don't have a big write-up, a big sell sheet about this. Do want to point out, if you dig Roman era battles, if you like ancient battles, this is one to pick up. There are like 14 battles included in this. This is going to be a huge release. I know this is basically a reprint of the deluxe edition that came out a few years ago that's been out of print for a long time. So if you dig the ancient battles and that, definitely pick this up. Do want to point out it carries an MSRP of $105. But right now, if you do order it at the GMT website, you can get it for $72. They still got a P500 price on it. And I think it started shipping yesterday. So it is going to be available. And like all GMT games, if you're kind of interested, better jump on it as soon as you possibly can. They sell out pretty darn quick. So let me grab another quick sip here. So hey, zip through the news fairly quickly. So in case you're wondering what I've got cooking on the Daily Dope for the rest of the week, I do want to mention that. Whoa, what? Huh? What? Are you talking to me again, Lil BUB? It's Lil BUB. Yes, Lil Buzz. What's going on? That's right. I should share some information about Lil BUB's big fund and the American Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals. And rather than have me talk about it, let's see Lil BUB go visit the headquarters in New York.
Hi, Bub. Nice to meet you. I'm Joey. I work at the ASPCA Adoption Center. It's nice to meet our first ever cat executive officer. Can I show you around? Let's go. So, Bub, this is our main cat area where we can have up to 300 cats at any given time. They live in these nice cat condos where they can play, jump, and be comfortable until they go home. Sorry, Bub, we don't have any dinosaurs. And this is where we keep our adoptable dogs. This is one of my favorite dogs, Duchess. She came to us through the NYPD, and we believe that she was abandoned. Bub, that's not how it works. Adopters have to come in and fill out an application. Bub, you might be better in the office.
All right, so obviously enough, you cannot just click here to make a donation to Lil BUB's big fund over at the ASPCA. But I do want to ask, if you like the Gaming Gang, if you like the Daily Dope, I am not asking you to support me. I am not saying, hey, go over to my Patreon page. In fact, I am going to be shutting down my Patreon page the end of this month. But if you do dig the website or you like the show, please consider making a donation to the American Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals and Lil BUB's big fund to help special needs animals find their forever homes. Do want to point out, because I know people are usually kind of freaked out about some charities, and it's a fact of life, folks. You donate to a charity, and usually 100% of what's donated does not make it to wherever it's supposed to be going. Do want to point out, with Lil BUB's big fund, 100% of the funds that are raised are actually sent out as grants to various different shelters that do help special needs pets. Be it maybe they're elderly animals, dogs and cats. Maybe they have some mobility issues. Maybe they have, unfortunately, maybe they have a disease. Do want to point out, Lil BUB is just amazingly cute and inspirational. That cat is. You should check out lilbub.com to learn more. I'm serious. As weird as this sounds, that cat is inspirational because it has so many things that were wrong with it. And it's just, the sweetest thing, just the sweetest thing. So 2 days ago, I made the announcement that I was no longer going to be operating the Gaming Gang and thus the Daily Dope as something to make a profit. Because as I pointed out before, and I said yesterday, I said it the other day too, I never got into this to like get rich or make money or anything like that, which is a good thing because it hadn't happened. So every dime that comes in outside of what I need to pay for the hosting of the website and the operation of the show, which really there's no operating costs at the moment for the show. I'm talking about if like a camera breaks or something like that. Anyway, every penny outside of that is going to be donated to Lil BUB's big fund, and I'm going to do some auctions for some games as well. So I'm going to be doing that, and basically everything outside of the shipping fee is going to be donated as well. So I'm not asking people to send me money to make a donation. I'm just saying, hey, if you have an opportunity, do me a favor and pop over to the web address I'm showing you right here in this slide. And even if you make a $5 donation, you're going to feel really good about yourself. Okay, so anyway, I started talking about what's coming up on the rest of the shows the rest of this week. Tomorrow, I am going to review Dungeon Mayhem. And as a surprise, along with this is just kind of a small card game. I am going to do a review. I'm not going to say what it is yet. I am going to review an old school Renaissance fantasy adventure, one of my favorites. So I will kind of unleash that on folks. It's a PDF, so I'm going to have to put some slides and stuff together to do that review, but it's going to be fun. I'll kind of talk about why I really dig it. But mum's the word right now. Friday, I have no idea. I have no idea what I'm planning on doing yet. I've got some stuff that's heading my way. Maybe it's going to be an unboxing. Maybe I'll do some sort of a review. I don't know. I have no idea, which is unusual. Usually I've got stuff plotted out way out in advance. But I haven't had an opportunity to do a lot of... I've done some solitaire gaming the past couple of weekends, but I haven't really had a chance to get people together to get some of the gang, like my nephew Cameron and that, together to play. So, anywho, all right. So I know folks are popping in because they want to check out what exactly is going on with the Talon 1000 expansion from my friends over at GMT Games. It's designed by Jim Crone, I believe that's how it's pronounced, with artwork and graphic design by Mark Simonich and Brett Miller. It does carry an MSRP of $35. Do want to point out the core game is for 2 to 6 players, ages 12 and up, and most of the battles, the scenarios play out in about an hour to 90 minutes. All right, so let's move on over to the other camera, I'm going to pop on ye old reading specs as well. So we're going to take a peek at Talon 1000. I'm going to take the shrink off of here. So if you are not familiar with Talon, it is a space combat game. It's pretty cool. It's pretty easy to get into. It kind of has a little bit of kind of a Starfleet battles kind of vibe to it, because the counters that you use, the big tile ships like this, you actually can use dry erase and mark them off and things like that. So let's see what we've got on the back here. Talon 1000 is a dependent expansion for the game Talon. Talon is a tactical game of space fleet combat between the Terran Confederation and the invading Talon Empire. All of the important information is at your fingertips, at a glance, on the map, like a giant heads-up display. Being able to see the battle unfold on map allows the game system to handle a much larger number of ships without confusion and effort. That's very true. This expansion is called Talon 1000 because it adds over 1,000 scenarios. We created fleet tables that leverage the flexible point values our new ship designs provide. Fleets and ship point level can be selected or chosen at random. With 5 sheets of ship counters, the expansion adds 170 new ship counters to the game. For comparison, the base game came with a total of 54 ships. The new counters include new ship designs such as variant weapon loadouts, in addition to more copies of the base game ships. The new ship designs add tons of variation and make scenario ship point balancing easier. I do believe that there are some additional solitaire rules in this as well. At least that's what I was led to believe. Actually, it says right here, solitaire AI rules are included. So it is a complexity 3. That's about right. Normally I comment that GMT's complexity levels tend to be a little low. I usually bump them up 1. But as far as Talon goes, yeah, Talon's, I'd say it's about a 3 out of 9. And then, of course, the solitaire suitability is a 9 out of 9. So now it's for 1 to 6 players. It says ages 14 and up. So let's crack this open. This is a slimmer box. Usually, most GMT games are about twice the depth of this. Not a ton of heft, but I do believe it's a lot of ships is what's going to be in here. So let's get this on open. Let's see what we got. All right, come on, you. Let's go. All right, so we got a 10-sided die. That's it. That's all we're going to look at. We're just going to look at the 10-sided die. Thanks for stopping by. All right, I'm going to close this back. I'm just joking. All right, so we've got a playbook. So we got the playbook right here, and we've got a bunch of ships. We've got, looks like we've got some handouts. Let's see, is that another map piece? I don't think so. Nope, it's not. All right, so we'll get to that in just a sec. So let's take a look at the playbook. So we got an introduction here. Talking about new ship classes. So we've got escorts. We've got improved versions of standard ships. So like improved destroyers, improved cruisers, improved carriers. As far as the abbreviations that are used in the game are pretty traditional naval abbreviations. Let me grab another sip here real quick. We've got heavy ships, we got guided missiles, phasers, disruptors, star bases, new terrain energy nebula. Okay, that's cool. New Empire War scenarios. Talking about table balance. All the fleets on each side, I should say, all the fleets on each of the tables are balanced to be within 1 point of the target. All fleets on the 250 point tables are between 249 and 251. All right. Talking about random scenarios. Terrain, type of battle. So you're basically rolling your 10-sided die to see what's going on here. So we could have convoy intercept, base assault, orbital conquest. We got solitaire scenarios. So it's talking about if you're playing solitaire versus the AI. So how many scenarios are in Talon 1000? I thought it's supposed to be 1,000, right? Isn't that why it's called 1,000? It says convoy intercept 200, wormhole blockade 200, base assault 200, orbital conquest 4,000 if you count a different number of transports as different scenarios. Priority target missions 1,000, last ship standing 1,000, solitaire last ship standing 2,000 equals 8,600. Then you add the possibility of terrain in. That is a tremendous number, but many are similar. If you just consider it to be 6 major types, asteroids, nebula, energy nebula, planets, black hole, and no terrain, total number of scenarios is 51,600. So we got our transport tables. Talking about with 200 points. So these, of course, are, smaller battles. Intercept table, base assaults, 250 ship points. 300 ship points, 400,000. So if you look, you'll see as we go up in ship points, you have more ships. And of course, you're rolling a 10-sided die to see, okay, so what do the Terran forces have, right? So, and then you're going to roll to see, okay, so what do the Talon forces have? If you're playing solitaire, this is what the AI's got. So we've got those. So we go up to 1,100 ship points. Now it talks about notes on ship names. That's one of the cool things I like too about Talon is the ships all have, they're all named. So it's not just like Cruiser A. No, they all have names. So I thought that was pretty cool. All right, so talking about the different names, showing the different classes again. Then we got the Talon ships. AI Empire Solitaire. Oh, not a ton of rules for the Solitaire game. Talking about initial setup, movement decisions. Fire priority and targeting. All right, what's going on? Are you stuck here? Come on, yo. There we go. Power phase, Empire Wargame. Got a historical background. Of course, it's fictional, obviously enough. All right, so there we go. So all in all, what did we have here? 22 pages or so? 23 pages. All right, so that is the playbook. Now let's take a look at some of the ships here. So I'm going to kind of try to get some glare, right? So as you can see, there's a finish to these. Oh, look at this. CAX Nimoy. Oh, that's cool. That is very cool. I had to be careful because I switched up cameras, and the camera I used to have over here that wasn't as sharp. This tends to be a bit clearer. Autofocus really nicely. This one, if I get too close, it doesn't seem to really focus. So I can only want to make sure that if I get closer in, kind of give you a better look. I guess I could zoom in, but if I zoom in, it bangs the duct tape around. It's only the camera directly above. Hey, it's no joke when I say this is the Duct Tape Studios. This really is the Duct Tape Studios. It's held together with duct tape, folks. All right, so we got the different ships. Talon's a cool game. Talon is a cool game. Talon is a game that is pretty easy to get into. It doesn't, GMT has some really cool entry-level sorts of games. And not to say that this is really basic or simple or simplistic. It's a game that's easy to get into. So we've got some of the new ships as well as more ships from the basic classes from the core game. As you can see, they are dual-sided and they are different ships on each side. So for an example here, we've got the Iron Duke. We flip that over and we actually have the Grace Hopper. So once again, giving you more ships to choose from. So we've got some more Terran ships here. These are a bunch of fighters. These look like science ships. Some destroyers here, some Well, the X, we just took a look at the X meant that they're reinforced. Kind of, they're still destroyers, but they're a bit better than just, say, regular destroyers. Took these over. It's like, still, oh, science, this has got to be a science ship, the Glen. That's kind of cool. One of the other cool things that I like about Talon is a lot of the ship names are kind of historically based, so I thought that was pretty cool. Although, like we just saw the Nimoy. I don't think there's the Shatner. Let's get this out of the way. It's catching a little too much glare there. So now we got the Talon ships. Talon ships tend to have a more, I guess we would say organic kind of look to them. Although they sort of remind me a little bit, and I don't know why, kind of like Romulans. So, taking a look here, got a star base right there. So we got a lot of ships. We got a lot of new ships to add to this. So we got more of the Talon ships here. So we've got some cruisers, some carriers, battle cruisers, battleships. Sweet. And then the reason why I mentioned that it sort of reminds me a little bit of Starfleet battles without getting just so bogged down into minutia like Starfleet battles did. When Starfleet battles first came out from Task Force Games back when I was in high school, we loved it. We couldn't get enough of it. And then it just got to the point where it's like, oh my gosh, it's like, how many rules do I have to remember here? But you have like your shields. So you're going to mark off your shields. You've got your components, your various different systems that take damage. Another thing it sort of reminds you of a little bit with the way the damage reduction works is Car Wars a little bit. Good old Car Wars from Steve Jackson Games. Game doesn't play anything like Car Wars, but I'm just saying. So, yeah, nothing like that. That was another game we used to play tons of when it first came out, and then it was another one of these games that just had all these rules. And the concept of it is still cool. I don't think we're ever really seeing a new edition from Steve Jackson Games. I think they scammed everybody during that Ogre Kickstarter that, oh yeah, we're going to make a new one. All I did was release some, kind of bogus, like basic game kind of thing. Right, so we got some new combat tables, some new player aids here. So we got Talon Forces, combat tables for phaser, antimatter torpedoes, wave motion guns, critical damage tables, ship movement restrictions. Oh, cool. We got an AI flowchart. Let's get this out here. So right there, we got an AI flowchart so you can play solitaire. That's cool. I'm glad to see that. That's very, very cool, because I got to be honest, the original Talon, I couldn't really imagine playing that solitaire. Grant, okay, I take that back. Any game can be played solitaire if you kind of take a schizophrenic approach to it, but still, very cool that we now have a way to play solitaire. And then we got a breakdown of kind of talking about the power phase, initial setup, Empire War Solitaire Fleet Ratio Table, ship placement tables. So we got that. And then the Empire War Mat. So we're looking at, oops, it's single-sided. So different areas of the what was that? The probably the galaxy, what it looks like. So we've got different planets. Sweet, very nice, very cool. All right, so we've got the Empire War Mat, we've got the AI flowchart, as well as the power phase info and some other real quick tables there as well. We've got the combat tables, as well as critical damage, ship movement restrictions, shooting down missiles. So we got that there. We've got a slew of new ships, especially when we take into account that they are each dual-sided, so each tile actually has a different ship on each side. So we've got those. Then we got the playbook, which clocked in at 23 pages, as well as a 10-sided die. And that is what we find when we take everything from Talon 1000 outside the box. As I pointed out before, Talon 1000 is available now from GMT Games. It's designed by Jim Crone, and artwork is provided, and graphic design is from Mark Simonich and Brett Miller. It does carry an MSRP of $35. Off the top of my head, I think Talon itself, the core game itself, I think the MSRP on that is $55, which is actually a really good deal because you'll get a lot of play out of that. A lot of play. And actually, Talon makes a really, really nice introduction to wargaming for some of the younger gamers out there. Or you can introduce kind of wargaming concepts to people because of the cool science fiction setting to it. Hey, John Vogel's popping in. Is this an expansion? Yes, John, it is. It is Talon 1000. It is an expansion. You do need the core game. It brings a lot of new ships. It also has some solitaire rules in it as well. And very, very cool. Hey, Russ is saying, same question I had. Yep, it is an expansion. So you do need to have Talon. This does carry an MSRP of $35. And as I'm pulling this off the top of my head, I could have swore, I think the original Talon has an MSRP of $55. So pretty cool, pretty affordable. All right, so that's it for today's show. So I do want to point out once again, I know people are thinking I'm kind of nutty for doing this, but I do want to point out, please consider making a donation to the American Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals, as well as Lil BUB's big fund, which helps special needs animals find their forever home. This is my little wizard, Lil BUB, that I got from lilbub.com. And I know, yeah, people think I'm nuts because I'm no longer trying to make money at doing this, that I'm going to donate everything outside of the operating costs to Lil BUB's big fund. Hey, I'm a softie. I love animals, and every animal I've ever had, it's mainly cats, has always either been feral or a shelter pet. So anyway, all right, so that is it for today's show. As I mentioned, on tomorrow's show, I will be reviewing Dungeon Mayhem, which will only take a few minutes. Then I'll be reviewing one of my favorite old school Renaissance fantasy adventures. I am going to surprise folks what that is. So I'll have 2 reviews on tomorrow's show. And then on Friday's show, I am clueless. I have absolutely no idea what I'm going to do. I'll pull something out. I know it. So I like to always point out that if you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, please be sure to go visit thegaminggang.com for all the latest in gaming news, reviews, comics, movies, TV. Just put all the new comic stuff out for this week. That all hit this morning. So, you know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Once again, I'm Jeff McAleer. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. And as always, John, Russ, everybody else is watching or who will watch this, thank you very much for watching. Thanks again for watching The Daily Dope, presented by The Gaming Gang. If you like this episode, be sure to give it a quick thumbs up. And if you dig the channel, please subscribe. If you'd like to check out our previous episode, click right here. And if you want to check out a somewhat randomly selected episode, give a click right down here. It'll be like opening a box of Cracker Jacks. You just don't know what you'll get. Once again, thanks for watching, and I'm Jeff McAleer.